Hi everybody. I know everyone loves the vinyl tag. I thought I'd just do something a little bit different. People are probably like, oh well, we do the tag once a year, they may be tagged out. But I thought, why not do a non-vinyl tag, just as a kind of follow-up to the vinyl tag. And partly, a lot of people right now are on lockdown, in this country anyway. And it just, it's a little extra something to do. Now, it doesn't take away from the vinyl tag, I enjoyed doing it this year. This is just a little bit of extra something if anyone wants to jump on board. And who knows, it could become something next year as well. But in the meantime, I'm just going to keep to 10 questions. Some are going to be specific about, a CD. But it's just going to be some general questions, but you have to show anything but vinyl. So cassettes, whatever you want to do, CDs, whatever. I have the 10 questions. And we're just going to go for it. So we're going to show a mini album format CD, one which is a replica of a vinyl album, and or an album with a gimmick case, a different sort of sleeve or packaging. So to begin with, here is Coltrane's Meditations with a mini album cover. Great record, of course, great record. And here, in a gimmick case, is Spiritualized Electric Mainline. And it opens over the back here. This is actually a glow-in-the-dark case. And you have the booklet and the case here. Unusual. Back in the day, of course, you'd have these annoying things. People used to buy CD racks because when people started releasing CDs with oversized boxes and all sorts, it became a waste of time. All you need is a good shelf and sort of pile them up along there. Anyway, show a music book question 2 that you have returned to often. You refer to a lot, but you just go back to, and it inspires you somewhat. This is 500 Lost Gems of the 60s by Kingsley Abbott. And this is just a fantastic little book. It goes through each year from the 60s with some really obscure and rare singles in here. Some which are more attainable than others. But yeah, great stuff. And if you collect 45s, this is just fantastic. Fantastic book. I recommend that. Question 3 is show 3 releases by the same artist or linked by the same artist over 3 decades. Now I'm going to just go for a fairly easy one here. It can be an artist who is maybe who was a member of a band, went solo and then did his own, joined another band or whatever, but over 3 decades. So for example here, in 1971, we have Black Sabbath Master of Reality on original cassette, a paper label, and this is a monstrous sounding cassette, absolutely stonking. A lot of these old cassettes, the originals, sound better than the vinyl. Into the 80s, Heaven and Hell. And then something you never see, people never show, and people don't seem to collect this era of Black Sabbath. 1994, Cross Purposes. Tony Mann, I think the guy is the singer. No one ever discusses, looks at these, it's like Ozzy and Dio, and you have the odd Gillan album chucked in, but no one ever shows this. 1994. Right, there's those. Question 4. Show a box set that you have, which has got the most CDs of all your box sets. I was going to say just show a box set with minimum of 3 CDs, but I thought show one with the most CDs in. I have got the Beatles box, the stereo box, and I think that's probably got 13 in it. But here is Leonard Cohen, complete, which it was at the time, with 11 mini LP sleeves, 11 CDs in there. I'll just show one or two. The problem with this is, it's all very well replicating, you know, look at the lettering on that. It's almost unreadable. But a nice set for those who like Leonard. And I know there are those who don't. You know who you are. Question 5. Show a music magazine or a special publication. Now I'm just giving a couple of examples here. This is a really old, not really old, but 1999 copy of Record Collector. Rolling Stone Spectacular. I've got rid of a lot of these in the past. Well, I keep ones with certain articles. This one's got some good stuff on psychedelia. That's Joy Division and just different things in here. It was always black and white back in the day. A Wire magazine from 2004. I've got most of the magazines from the 90s to around 2014. But this, I mean, look at the lineup of articles in there. There's a really good feature on Mingus. They sort of do a primer. Exploring his albums and, you know, recommendations, that kind of thing. I never buy magazines anymore. Very, very rare. They just seem to be regurgitating the same information over and over again. And I'll show a special publication. Mojo presents Frank Zappa. And again, this is a really nice one actually. Goes through his LPs, plus, you know, what he was up to at the time, etc. etc. So that's a nice little thing. So I'll keep certain things like that. Question 6. Show a non-music CD or cassette. Now, a non-music CD is a BBC drama adaptation of Hercule Poirot, Mrs. McGinty's Dead. I occasionally listen to this sort of thing in the car. Makes a change from music and it just takes you somewhere else, you know. But I'm also going to show The Magic Roundabout. Glorious. There we are. That original paper label cassette. 1976. Show an album you have not played in over 2 years. Surprising how many, right? Kevin Ayers, The Unfair Ground. I think I played it once, maybe twice when it first came out. Haven't played it since. E2, E4. I did actually start playing this once, and I haven't played it all the way through. I picked up a really weird bootleg recently. One side is this album, part of it, and the other side is an Eddie Grant song. Completely bizarre. But yes, that's one really I should listen to again. I'll show a couple more. I'll just say just show one. But here, Forbidden Planets, Volume 1, Volume 2. This is music from the pioneers of electronic sound, and there's some amazing stuff on here. Still sealed. Had them for years, still sealed. Sad. Across 110th Street. Years. Show a music-related DVD that you would recommend. Now, it'd be great if I could find where I just put this. Here we go. This is The Small Faces, All or Nothing. As it says, about 27 complete performances, and wow, these are just fantastic. Live, majority live in the studio and whatnot, or on stage in small gigs. And seeing the footage of them playing and the kind of, you know, the power and the energy that this little band got, I mean, just out of those few instruments, and just incredible. And Steve Marriot's voice, but to see them in action, that is something else. Of course, nowadays it's all on YouTube. Okay. Show an album which was a letdown, a real disappointment. I'm showing this. Marzi Washington's The Epic. You know. Now, it's not for music so much. I mean, the first track is epic. It has fantastic kind of choral voices and stuff, and really, really good. The problem to my ear, well, some of it is a bit, yeah, it's a bit long-winded. It's for production. You can tell it's a digital production. Nowadays, everything goes through computers, and it has a kind of instead of allowing the instruments to, I mean, live, that would be incredible, but instead of allowing the instruments to kind of breathe, and there's a lot of instruments playing, you can hear they've been kind of gated. You know, it's back in the day, I worked in a studio for a time, you get the gates which you'd put on, and you'd harness the sound of the instruments, you'd kind of hold them back, and you'd put different effects on, but as a result it kind of deadens it. And so many modern records, to my ear, you can tell they just have that modern sound. Now live, I'm sure fantastic. You know, there's a lot of kind of movement towards analog recording, but you can hear that it's not recorded. I mean, maybe it is, maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like it's very digital, and it just takes away from the power of the music. It kind of flattens and deadens it somewhat. And finally, an album, I mean, we've got two choices here. An album which has got a really naff cover. This is G.F. Fitzgerald's Mouseproof. Kind of folky, psyche, outsider album. Or an album which you would never play in front of your parents. You know, now, you just won't play in front of your parents, or you won't play in front of your children. No, I don't have kids. But this album, you might think, well, this is a bit lame. You know, there are a lot more extreme albums I wouldn't play. But this, I can just imagine my mum. I could not play this in front of my mum. It'd probably remind her too much of me when I was 17, 18. It's the last thing she wants to remember. But, yeah, I just, you know, her poor sensitive soul, she wouldn't be able to cope with the power chords, and she wouldn't be able to handle it. So anyway, that's it. Now, some of those questions may have been asked before in, you know, contests. We have so many different contests and competitions, and in vinyl tags before, you know. I'm sure they probably have been. But I thought, why not? Let's try something different. If you're not all tagged out, that is. And hope you enjoyed that. You never know. There may be one or two people who might make one. But of course, it's just a bit of fun. You know, it's a lockdown time. We need something to do. So look after yourselves, everyone. See you soon.